Years ago, I took a public speaking class in college. One of the lessons I was taught included a quote by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. FDR had been asked, what did he think made a good speech? He replied that his best speeches always followed the 3 B's. Be sincere, be brief, and be seated. I will try to follow this advice today. My name is Ellis Michaels, and I am a member of an organization called the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War. At the end of the Civil War, Union veterans who had served to defend the United States as one nation banded together to form the organization that would be called the Grand Army of the Republic, or GAR. It was first founded in Decatur, Illinois on 6th of April, 1866. By the year 1890, its membership would number over 400,000. 5 U.S. presidents had been members of the GAR. As time passed, the GAR endorsed the founding of the Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, or SUVCW. The SUVCW is an organization of male descendants of Civil War veterans dedicated to preserving the memory of the soldiers, sailors, and Marines who served the United States during the rebellion of 1861 to 1865. There is also a Daughters of the Union Veterans of the Civil War for female descendants of the veterans. In 1995, the SUVCW formed the National Graves Registration Project with the goal of creating a national database of the burial locations of Union veterans of the Civil War. The camp that I belong to here in Pittsburgh is the Star Davis Camp. We have been working to identify the graves of all Union Civil War veterans buried in Allegheny County, and to enter their names and burial information into our national database. To date, we estimate that we have documented approximately 63% of the over 9,000 veterans believed to be buried in Allegheny County. In addition to identifying the burial locations of our Civil War veterans, whenever possible, we also make efforts to ensure that all Civil War veterans' graves are marked with legible grave markers. In the occasion that a marker is found to be severely damaged or illegible, or if the grave is not marked at all, we try to work with the cemetery to obtain new replacement markers from the VA. It was during my research for the Grave Registration Project that I came to know about the GAR veteran burial lot here at the cemetery. After the cemetery superintendent, Mike Nemeth, showed me the poor condition of the soldiers' graves buried here, I asked him if he would work with me to try to identify the soldiers buried and to assist with applying to the VA to obtain replacement markers. Mike helped me to find an old map that had most of the names and burial locations of the men interred. Using that map, I researched the veterans to find the necessary documentation required by the VA to apply for new upright granite markers. There are 28 markers in the soldiers' lot, and we have been able to positively identify all but one of the veterans buried here. Now, 4 of the stones in the plot are original VA-provided stones, and that while they had sank and became covered with biological growth, they are still legible. I have reset and leveled these stones, and I'm in the process of cleaning them using the best practice recommendations of the National Center for Preservation Technology. 2 of the markers in the very last row had, at some point in the past, been resurfaced and reinscribed with the names of the Heasley family veterans, and they are also being properly cleaned. The remaining 21 stones had originally been provided by an agency of the Allegheny County government, but unfortunately the marble used has been severely damaged and eroded by environmental pollution, and they need to be replaced. To date, I have installed 8 of the replacement stones, which you can see in the first 2 rows. I have submitted applications for the remaining 13 markers, and we are awaiting for their arrival. We hope to have the entire project completed by the end of summer. Incidentally, while doing the research on the veteran graves, I found that there is one soldier buried here that was not in the Civil War. Robert Forgy, who is buried in the very last corner in the very last row, was not a Civil War veteran, but was in fact a veteran of the Indian Wars. Private Forgy served in Company B of the 17th U.S. Infantry and was stationed at Fort Russell in Wyoming during the 1890s. His regiment saw engagements against the uprising of the Sioux Indians. After discharge, he returned to southwestern Pennsylvania, but was unfortunately killed by a train in 1901. His grave marker will be replaced by a new VA marker that will specifically honor his service as an Indian War soldier. I would like to thank Mike Nemeth, the superintendent of the Richland Cemetery, and Charles Gross, the commander of the Dravosburg American Legion, for their support and assistance in this project. And hopefully next year, when you come to the next Memorial Day celebration, the soldiers buried in this hallowed place will have grave markers that honor their names, their lives, and their service. If anyone would like to know more about the Union Veterans Civil War Grave Registration Project, I have pamphlets sitting there, or you can speak to me afterwards. Thank you.